right. Hello guys, it's Bart Johnson here. I am back again. I know we took last week off, but it is once again Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and it is time for me to hang out live with you guys here on the channel. If it is your first time here, welcome. We're going to have a really good time today. I'm glad you found the channel and hope you enjoy the show today. And if, like I said, if you're brand new and you like this, make sure to hit subscribe down there and click that bell so you can join us every time we go live and every time I have videos come out. For those of you who may be joining us who are already subscribers to the channel, good to see you guys again. Really glad to be back. I was in San Francisco last week working, so we didn't get to do a show, but I promised you we would be back this week, and here we are. We are up in my Edit Suite studio today because we're going to be talking about some editing control surfaces that I've been trying out and seeing if they speed up your workflow or if they're just sort of desktop clutter, because I do have a lot here on my desk, and we'll take a look at that in a second. But before we get started, the beauty of this show is that it is live, ladies and gentlemen, and so we are going to be able to chat and hang out and ask questions and talk and all of that throughout this entire show. And of course, I can pull that up onto the screen right here. We already have somebody in here. Giorgio Alberti says hi. Hello to you. So follow Giorgio's example there, guys, and if you have any questions or comments or just want to say hey throughout the show, this is the place to do it. A few notes before we get started here. It has been a while since I've really streamed from the office, and I kind of had to do some special rigging for today's show. I had a few technical glitches, but I think I've got them worked out. Not super happy with my exposure on this A camera, but I had to get a little creative with the lighting in here today because I've got a second camera angle for us so that we can see what I'm working with on my desk. So if the exposure isn't awesome, please forgive me. I have the camera on auto exposure, so hopefully it's going to try and keep up. And I did have to open these windows to get a little bit of fill. But anyway, that's the cinematographer in me. Bill Pan is here saying hello, Bart. Hello to you, Bill. All right, guys, we got a lot to cover today because we got three things. I don't know what the heck I'm thinking trying to shove three things into one show. But yeah, we've got three things here, and we're going to try and take a look at all of them. Now, these won't be super in-depth reviews. I'm just going to show you guys what I've got, basic functionality and all of that. I plan on doing full reviews of each of these things in separate videos in the future, so those will be coming soon. And if you're watching this in the future and this is already gone, there should be links in the description down below to those videos. But anyway, let's take a quick look. Hello, Simon. I see you in here. Good to see you. Let's take a quick look at our overhead and see what we're looking at today. So here we go, guys. These are the three devices that I wanted to take a look at today with you. We have the LoupeDeck Plus right here. We have the brand new Elgato Steam Deck XL right here. And we have, this guy's old school, but I just, it's new to me. This is the Contour ShuttleXpress. So each of these are what you call an editing control surface, and they each have a different sort of function and operate in a different way. And I've been sort of customizing them and testing them in my workflow to see if they are for me. Some I like, some I'm not sure yet, but we're going to take a look at all of that today. So all three of these, like I said, are what you call editing control surfaces. So there's a lot of ways to interact with your video editing software. Of course, you can just do the old mouse to move around, but what happens is when you're doing a lot of editing or you do it for a living, you need to be quick, you're looking for ways to be more efficient, get things done faster. And so sometimes moving that mouse around, even the second of like moving the mouse over to drag and grab something and drag it down to your timeline, that's wasted seconds that can really add up if you end up doing that hundreds or thousands of times per day. So you want to try and streamline it. So the way that a lot of people do that is hotkeys. Hotkeys are built into editing software, and they're literally just keystrokes on your keyboard that are shortcuts to perform certain actions and certain commands. In Adobe Premiere, which I'll be using today, there's lots of customization for hotkeys, which will come in handy for one of these devices. And yeah, so hotkeys are the other way to do it, but you're still relying on your mouse and your keyboard. And I wanted to see if there are ways that I could go a little bit faster. And so I picked up these 3 devices and we're gonna take a look at them today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at our first one here. And we're gonna start with, oh, what do we got here? Bill says, I was researching a couple weeks ago and saw all 3 of these. Together they should be a great combo. Well, we're gonna find that out today because I have been trying them out, and that's why I picked them up, to see if they work well together. So here we go. I've got a few things going on here, guys. Well, first, let me just show you. Let's do this one first. Okay, so what I've got here is I am working on a 27-inch iMac. Okay, so I am on Mac OS. On the latest version, I'm working in Adobe Premiere. That's my editor of choice. That's an argument for another day, you know, Final Cut versus Premiere. But I like Premiere. My machine's a little bit older, so I've been having some issues with just some quirky stuff with Premiere Pro 2019. So I'm working in 2018, but I did use each of these devices in 2019 as well, and they do work. Just wanted to put that out there. So on Mac, working in Premiere, these devices work. They actually all have pretty versatile connectivity. I believe all 3 of them are Mac and PC, so you should be good on that platform. A few of them are Linux, but I don't know how many of you guys are actually Linux out there. But anyway, we're going to take a look at this first one here, which is the LoupeDeck. Actually, let me go to the LoupeDeck Solo first. Let me introduce all these guys. I'm too antsy. I'm all over the place. So this is the LoupeDeck, and specifically this is their second model, which is called the LoupeDeck Plus. So this was originally designed to be, and still is, an interface for controlling mostly Adobe Lightroom. So it has all of these controls that are kind of specific to Adobe Lightroom. So if you're a photo editor as well, you are probably absolutely going to love this thing. Now, while you can customize a lot of these buttons, and it does have functionality now, a specific profile set that it comes with for Premiere Pro, I've been finding that the majority of these buttons and stuff I'm not actually using, at least right now, until I explore this a little bit more, maybe figure out how I want to customize it. So for me, this one's kind of a lot of wasted commands because I don't do a lot of photo editing, especially because this guy comes in at $249. So that's quite a bit. But why did I pick this up? Well, I do my color grading in Premiere as well, so I use Lumetri color. And they have those sliders, so if we go, let's go to our LoupeDeck here, so you can see. So let's go to color. Hopefully my machine can keep up. Okay, so if we go into basic correction in color, you see we've got these sliders here. So we've got them, and you can grab with your mouse and drag and change your color. So cool it down, warm it up. You've got tint, exposure, contrast, highlight, shadows, whites, black, and saturation. Very cool, right? Well, if you take a look, we actually have those individual dials here on the LoupeDeck, and they do work with Adobe Premiere. So if I wanted to adjust this shot that I have right here that I'm working on, this is my latest review, which is out on my channel, guys. I just figured it was a good example to pull up of a ready-to-go Premiere project. But let's say I want to adjust the exposure on that. So I can use my exposure knob here, just a little plastic knob, and I can go, and it is going by 0.1 increments. If you guys look up here, this slider is indeed moving for exposure, and it's going in 0.1 increments, so I have really granular control, or I can go super fast, I can bring it back down, or I can click and it'll reset it back to where it goes. And so that's how actually all of these work. Hey, we got somebody here from Scotland. That's awesome. International audience. Welcome, welcome. But yeah, so let's see, you know, we can do the shadows. Say I want to darken those shadows up a little bit there. Okay, say I want to play with my highlights. Okay, I've got my highlights right here. I can mess with those. Let's add some contrast to it. Let's really punch this sucker up. So there we go. Let's increase the whites. Let's drop the black. So you can see I'm doing all sorts of things. And then, all right, I don't like that adjustment to the whites. I don't like what I did to the blacks. Undo the contrast. Stop messing with the highlights and shadows. And then, you know, let's give it some saturation. Let's really make it really, really punchy and vibrant there. Again, temperature control, tint control, like Incredible Hulk if he had wireless video, and reset back to where it goes. So that is just in a nutshell the LoupeDeck. So what I am really using it for right now, if we go to, let me go to the solo of it. So really right now, I'm mainly just using it for these knobs right here. Now, obviously there's tons of other functions in here. And actually this is pretty cool. I'll show you this in a second. I haven't used this area as much, but this also does, with the built-in profile, work with Adobe Premiere. So let's take a look at that real quick. So let's go to our color wheels here. So here we have our color wheels in Lumetri. We have the shadows, midtones, and highlights. Well, here on the LoupeDeck we have 3 buttons: hue, saturation, and luminance. And right now the little light next to hue is lit. And then you have these little rollers next to it. Now what happens is hue, saturation, and luminance actually ends up translating to highlights, midtones, and shadows. And then these rockers control X, Y, and what they're calling Z axis. So let's take a peek at that real quick. So I'll go to, you know, I tap hue. The light is already on. So I think that's the highlights. I'm still learning these. That's the trickiest part, is remembering everything, because obviously in Premiere, these printed labels that are on here, the things that are on the buttons don't directly translate over. So I might print my own little label maker stickers and put them on there if I want to remember stuff, because I don't have the muscle memory quite yet. But here we go. Enough talk. I'm going to move this. Okay, so this first one is our moving us side to side on that axis, and we're affecting just the highlights. If you look over here at the highlights, so we're moving side to side, and then this will adjust us up and down in that wheel. And then this one, what they call the x-axis, is sort of the intensity one. So this slider along the side here is going, or it truly is the luminance or brightness of them. So there we go. And of course, each one of them clicks as well. Click, click, everything's back to normal. Go and click what's called the saturation button, which should correlate to our midtones here. And there we go, we have the same functionality. Now, obviously a trackball like you find on some of the Blackmagic products would be probably better for this, but you know, because you could just roll around this wheel. But this is okay. I'm not sure if I'm going to use this as much, but it is there. It is the functionality again, and this would be your shadows, messing with your colors there. Reset it. So those 3 are right there. So these have functionality in Premiere. These have functionality in Premiere. The other things also do as well, but not functionality that I'm really using at this time. But that doesn't mean that you can't make this more your own. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up our LoupeDeck software actually, and show you guys a little bit of that. I saw we had a question in here from Furwork, so what do we got here? Do you have to have a Lumetri panel open to use the color grading knobs, or will it automatically throw a Lumetri effect on the selected clip when you start adjusting? That is a great question. Let's go take a look at that, because I did want to mention that. So what he is asking, oops, spoiler, there's the software. Let's get this open. So what he is asking is, obviously right now I am in the color tab. So I've gone into color. Usually you have to click, go into color, and this is where you make your color adjustments. He's asking, what if you're not in the color tab? Does it work? So let's go to just my editing, my timeline window here. So I know you guys can't really see. Let me give you this. So I'm right here. I'm just in my timeline. My clip is selected in my timeline, so it's the background image of this that I'm going to be working on. But let's go back to the LoupeDeck. And I know I've built a ton of suspense here, but the answer to your question is yes. You do not have to go into the color tab to make your tweaks. You do not have to be in Lumetri. So you can go through an entire timeline like I have up here. You can go through your entire timeline without needing to open the color tab, and you can go clip by clip and make really quick, simple adjustments. If you wanted to do like a quick run through pass and just balance each clip and everything, you can go through and do that very quickly. This device is very, very good for that. And that is kind of how I've been using it. I haven't been doing super detailed, like, I haven't done any like narrative work yet where I've really been putting this to the test for finessing my color. I've done some corporate stuff where we're kind of cranking them out quickly, but we've still sort of shot in a log profile, and we'll throw a base slot on there. But then I can go through clip by clip without leaving my timeline view here, make my tweaks, and everything's great. Just walk through. So I'm going to put everything back. I mucked that color all up. There we go. But yeah, so I changed that, scrub through. So there we go. So the answer is yes, Furworks. It will work even without going into the color tab, and that is an awesome, awesome feature of it. I really, really like that. Let's see here. Wannabe Films is asking to follow up at Furworks. Does it work if the Lumetri effect has not yet been applied? In other words, yeah, I know what you're saying here. So he's saying, I've already applied a Lumetri effect to this. So let's take one that doesn't. Most of these I've already, because I apply it to the master. So I'm going to find a clip here that hasn't been graded. Okay, let's find out. That's a good question. That's why I love having you guys here with me live. So here's a clip, because you guys think of things that I haven't yet. So that's a good question. So here we go. We've got this clip right here. If we look at our effect controls, there is no Lumetri effect applied to this yet. The question is, can I adjust this clip? Will it apply a Lumetri effect? Let's see. Yes, it will. Look at that. I adjusted the exposure and immediately it added the Lumetri effect right here, and I'm doing it. So I don't even have to go and apply a Lumetri effect. I don't have to touch the color tab at all to do color work to this guy. So let's bring that up. I mean, if you wanted to apply a LUT, you would have to go in there. I don't have any shortcuts yet for that, but that is pretty cool. You can do your color work. Let's give it some contrast here. Get it looking decent. That tint looks a little. Let's get it there. Let's cool it down just a touch. And there you go. A couple seconds, got it looking pretty good. So I just took it from that to that, just with a few moves of the dial. So that is really cool. And that is part of why I picked this thing up. Actually, it's probably 99% of why I picked this guy up. So, like I said, oh man, having the window open really makes it hard to see the chat, doesn't it? Sorry about that, guys. Usually I have the blackout curtain pulled and the chat shows up really well. But like I said, I needed the light today. Yeah, sorry about that. There's not much I can do about it today. Actually, let me see. Will this help? There we go. I didn't have my chat background layer on. That'll help a little bit. Now we can see. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. But that was a great question. Yeah, Furworks says, I think a lot more people will get these if they realize that. And then Wannabe Films is saying, could you then build shortcuts to apply LUTs? Yes, you can. I have not done it yet, but I mean, with these devices, we are diving into a realm of nerdy video editing programming and stuff that I'm very excited about. But let's take a peek real quick. I did want to show you guys the software for this. So we're gonna go to here. So here you go, guys. This is the LoupeDeck Plus software. So you just boot this up and say you want to do a configuration, and it has all your buttons, all your groups, and what they do. If you look here, these are all the applications it has pre-built button sets for: After Effects, Audition, Aurora HDR, Capture One, Final Cut Pro, Lightroom, Classic, Photoshop, and Premiere. So they have built-in profiles to work with each of those, but all of these buttons are customizable. If you click a button, look at all of these different settings. So color adjustments is what it's doing. You can change, you can click on any of these things and then go into any of these folders of controls and set what you want it to do. Now, this customization software, I really don't think is the most intuitive thing I have ever seen. Like, I'm still trying to figure out, like, okay, like, what is the order of operations here? Like, there's so much going on. I love that there's a ton of options, but it's almost too many options for me to get through. I just don't think the graphic interface here is laid out very well, and it's kind of intimidating to the point where I haven't even touched it yet. I've just been using the default profile, but I mean, you'll be able to program buttons to, you know, all of these, every single button can pretty much be customized, and you can make it do whatever you want. You know, you'll have to sort of find a way for you to remember which button does what, because obviously the labels will change depending if you change their functionality. But yeah, there's a ton that you can do, and you can customize it. I just haven't dived too deep into that yet. I've really just been using it with that default profile, but there is the possibility to expand. You were asking about building shortcuts to apply LUTs. I believe you can do that. You can set it. You can set one of your function buttons to apply a look or a preset in Lightroom, or I believe you can get it to do a LUT as well in Premiere. Haven't done it yet, so I don't know the process for doing that. But yeah, it is, I believe, possible. And if it's not possible with the LoupeDeck, I know it is possible with one of the other devices, the Elgato, that we're going to work in today, because that thing can pretty much do anything that you can program, which is awesome. Where do I want to go? I want to go to the iMac screen here. So we just took a look at the software. So that's the LoupeDeck software. The amazing thing is that there's also a function button here. So if you change it, oops, I hit the function button. Let me see. Let me go to, that's, okay, no set of functions there. Let's go to these. Okay, see, you set it to function. So function, if you hit that button, let me show you guys real quick. Sorry, I'm all over the place. This right here, if you hit this, it literally opens up a completely different layer of controls for each of these buttons. So they have dual functionality. It's just like holding shift or something. You know, you hit this, and now if we go and take a look at this, now we have a completely separate set that we can do. And so you can set two commands, two functions, two actions to every single button and dial on this thing. But that's super in-depth. I have not dug that deep into it. I'm pretty happy with just using it as a color tweaking panel, and I haven't got into the insanity of it. But the rabbit hole goes very deep with this thing, and you guys could get in there and really, really customize it for however you would like. Let's take a peek at our chat real quick while I drink my iced tea here. A lot of talking dries me out. Chris is saying, I just tuned in, so maybe I missed it, but how much mouse use does something like this LoupeDeck eliminate? Actually, it eliminates quite a lot. I now do not even touch the mouse for doing any color work. And usually I'm working with, I'm working with our color sliders here. So usually I'm pulling these sliders back and forth, and oh, I went a little too far, I went a little bit, and then I get frustrated and I end up just punching in the exact total that I think I want right here. This thing now, what was I just doing? The temperature? This thing now, temperature, do granular control right here. I don't touch my mouse at all while doing color work now because of the LoupeDeck. Oops, I wasn't showing the LoupeDeck itself. So here, yeah, temperature. So it cuts out quite a bit, which is awesome because I hate using those teeny tiny sliders there and trying to control it with your mouse. I don't like it. Is it beneficial beyond color work? So I specifically got this for color work, and it is kind of tuned to color work, you know, with all of the obviously color specific commands. There are a lot of other commands on it here that I am not using that you could program to do other things in editing. So you could program it like this would be a cut, this would be like ripple delete, you could change that. This says export, I'm sure you could probably actually program it to export from Premiere. So yeah, there's other functionality you could do beyond color, but this thing is really suited for color, geared towards color, and I've been using it for color, because I have some other things to help more with my editing, and we're going to get to that in a sec. Let me tear through our chat real quick. Forward saying, I've considered trying to get my MPK49 keyboard working as an edit surface. For now, I've just moved to programmable MMO mouse, and that's helped a lot. Does anybody out there know what Furworks just said? Because I don't. I'm not that techie. At least when it comes to customizing computer parts and functionality and that kind of stuff. I'm getting to it, but part of the allure of the LoupeDeck and these other devices is that their software is really set up. Maybe not the LoupeDeck so much. It's not quite as intuitive. It's a little overwhelming. But they make it as easy as possible for you to program in your own commands and shortcuts without knowing code, without having to mess with actual programming. When I say programming, I mean I'm like picking from a drop-down list of what I want. But anyway, we got to keep on trucking along here because we got two more. But that, my friends, is the LoupeDeck. No, I gave it away. That, my friends, is the LoupeDeck Plus here. It is $250. I think that's a little expensive. To be honest, I think it's more of like a $150 product. And I am kind of only using a fraction of its functionality, but who knows, as I get into the future a little bit more, I may get a little bit more familiarized with this device and some of the other things it can do, because I'm really using only like, what is that, a third of its functionality. But yeah, very cool. Let's move on to another device. We're going to take a look at another one that is brand new to me and has actually been pretty cool. So let's go to the ShuttleXpress. And I'm sorry if this shot is a little bit fuzzy, guys. I am using one overhead shot and cropping into it heavily to get us shots of all of these devices. But here we have, let's see, I'm just moving some stuff around here. But here we have the ShuttleXpress. So this is from a company called Contour. Again, guys, there will be links down in the description below for all of these if you're interested in checking them out. This guy was only 60 bucks on Amazon. And it's simple functionality. It has a little dial here. It has a spring-loaded little rotation dial here. And then it has 5 buttons. And everything is, of course, programmable, but I have only reprogrammed the buttons to do certain things that I like, because this works as a jog and shuttle in Premiere, and I absolutely love it. So let me show you what I'm talking about when we talk about that. So let's go to our ShuttleXpress overview here. So here we go, guys. We're back in that timeline, and let me just go to this. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you guys how I sort of use this. We're going to work in this clip right here. So here is the shuttle, and the shuttle lets me go through footage, and it does react and speed up and slow down based on how far I'm pushing this. And this is spring loaded, this outer ring here. It's rubberized, so it's very easy to grip. But the farther you push, the faster it scrubs through, okay? And when I let go, it springs back to its position and it's good to go. Freaking awesome. Now, say you want a little bit more granular control, like, ooh, frame by frame. All right, here's your little jog dial. It is clicked. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I'm able to go through frame by frame, find where I want. Okay, let's say I like from right here. I've programmed this button, mark an endpoint. Let's scrub to the end of this slider move. Okay, let's back up a little. I started twitching. Where does that? Okay, so it goes right there. All right, mark my out point. Boom. Now I have marked a clip right here without touching a mouse or touching any keystrokes. That is freaking awesome. So that's just using my source and picking out the part of this clip that I want to bring into my timeline. But let's go into my timeline here. And let's see. So I'm going to scrub through.
Power than a USB battery bank can provide at 5 volts, so you can't run it off the bat. But
okay. And be like, oh, well, I'm not going to make actual edits here, but let me show you guys. Okay, I want to cut this guy right here. Let me get my granular control. Let's go to right there. I've programmed this middle button to just be a simple cut. There it goes, made a cut, and then I could delete this part. However, the easier way to do it is I have also programmed these two buttons to be ripple delete back and ripple delete forward. So I want to delete everything before this cut point and bring my whole sequence, my whole timeline, close up the gap so I don't have a gap there. I just tap this button here. Oops, I think I inserted the clip. I was wrong. See, I'm still customizing these guys, so yeah, bear with me. Live shows, gotta love it. I thought I reprogrammed that guy. I guess, oh, I know what I did. I programmed this guy so that I can quickly insert these into here. So I did my in and out points right here, in and out, and then if I just clicked that, it would immediately dump this selection into my timeline right where I put it. I think this one is ripple delete. So if I, yeah, there it goes. So this is ripple delete back. So I wanted to cut off. So like, I'm talking here. Say I want to get rid of the first part. Oh, I'm covering the whole thing. You guys got to tell me these things. All right, say I want to get rid of like this portion of this clip right here. I'll just click this. Cuts it out. Trims the whole thing up. All right, I don't like this section right here, so I'm gonna make a cut here. I'm gonna scrub
with 2 pairs
and go frame by frame to here and ripple delete that out, and it closes everything up. Boom. Nice and simple, man. It is so simple. And the funny thing about this is that this thing is old school. It's back to when we used to have devices that had tons of like shuttle and jog wheels all over it, and now we're like, oh no, we're advanced and touchscreens and all that stuff now. But no, going back to the basics of this thing is absolutely awesome. This has been, for 60 bucks, a fantastic device. I've really been working on programming it. It fits nicely in my hand. Just been figuring out, let me go to the solo of it again. And just been really figuring out the best way that I want to use it. You guys saw I've been playing with the functionality of some of the buttons, but scrub, 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 in point, out point, dump it in, like, done. Really cool, really simple. It's very lightweight. This is, it's plastic and whatnot. Only 5 buttons, but they do make a version of this called the Shuttle Pro V2 that is out there. I have a link to that down in the description below as well, I believe. It's a larger panel, same idea, still has the jog wheel and the shuttle and all that, but it's got something like 15 buttons, and it's about $100, I believe. And I thought about checking that one out, but I didn't feel like I would need all of those buttons, especially because I have other control surfaces. And so I wanted the smaller form factor of this one. I like this guy. It does stay on the desk pretty good. It's got rubberized pads underneath, but I did actually make a little butterfly of gaff tape and put it under here just so I can really kind of be rough with it and it's not moving around or anything like that. So nice and simple, sits right there. Yeah, USB connector cable, just like all these devices we're going to be taking a look at today. It is a permanently attached cable, but it had enough length for me to run it and all of that. But that's probably for more of an in-depth review kind of thing, but I just thought I would note it. Let's take a peek at the chat real quick, because really, I don't have much to say about the ShuttleXpress except that I really like it. It is awesome. So I am training myself, because that's the hardest part about using new devices. I'm training myself to have the muscle memory to, instead of going to my keyboard, instead of going to my mouse, to use this thing and to use the other things on here. And I've been doing that slowly and it's working really well. But I find this one to be super intuitive and I can just interact with my footage, fly through it, make an assembly cut in freaking no time. And it's just great. So let's see what we got here. So Wannabe Films is saying, I'm curious which would be more beneficial, the LoupeDeck or something like a tangent design control surface. So he's talking about the tangent ripple. It is a control surface that has like 3 balls on it. I thought about that one. I think it seemed a little large and a little expensive, and so I didn't pick it up. And I'd always been really interested in the LoupeDeck. So who knows? Maybe I'll take a look at the tangent ripple if you guys are interested. That's another old school one. It's been around for years, but something that's been around for years means it's pretty tried and true. Bill Pan saying, for anyone that doesn't want an MMO mouse, so we're making recommendations in there. Good. Glad you guys are helping each other out in the chat. The good old days, if it only made the noise of a Digibeta deck spinning through a tape. Yeah, no artificial noise on the ShuttleXpress, but it is pretty cool. And like I said, guys, my favorite thing about that is that this is clicked. So frame. It is clicked. That's awesome. And the fact that this is rubberized, easy to grip, and is spring-loaded and goes back is just absolutely awesome. So it does have hard stops at the ends too, so when you get to full speed and whatnot. But yeah, freaking cool little thing for 60 bucks. I'm really, really happy with this guy. All right, so without further ado, I think we're going to move on to our last one, because this one is probably the most versatile product I have seen in a very long time, not just for video editing, but for interacting with your computer in all sorts of programs and everything. And that's going to be the Elgato Stream Deck. Sorry, I was just looking. I was like, oh, the mailman's here. I bet you he brought me some stuff today. So for those of you who have seen the live shows before, I do a lot of my switching on an Elgato Stream Deck. Let's just dive into it. I'm all over the place. So let's go to the Elgato Stream Deck. Again, we are super punched in, and I only have one overhead camera angle. So trying to get the exposure for these icons and everything else was kind of impossible. So I'm sorry this shot looks like poo, but it'll at least show you what we got. So the Stream Deck, I have a smaller one up here, which is 15 keys, and I've been using it for a long while. But this is the new Stream Deck XL, which has 32 freaking keys. So what it is it's just a control surface with these buttons, and it has these little LCDs behind them, and you can customize, put your own icons in there and customize the functionality of what they can do. And the Stream Deck is super, super versatile. You can use it to open websites. You can use it to open specific programs. You can make folders of stuff. So I have a folder with my most useful YouTube things. So I can go straight to my live events page. I can go straight to your guys' community comments. So I've got folders of that. I can launch Premiere, I can launch Photoshop, Edit Ready, OBS. It can do OBS controls because that's what I'm using my other one, which is off camera right now for. I use that to switch between my different displays. And it works amazingly. It makes it so easy for me to be a one-man band and switch. But where this guy really shines is when we get to editing with it. Okay, so I've created a profile in here, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but for Adobe Premiere and Premiere Pro Tools. So even though it's open, I haven't selected Premiere yet, but watch, when I'm in Premiere, it should change over. Boom, instantly. So it instantly knows that I am using Premiere Pro right now, and so it brings up the profile that I have built for my Premiere controls. And as you can see here, I have created custom icons and functions for my most commonly used functions that I use in Premiere, and also some buttons for my workspaces. So there's so much functionality. I'll show you guys some of the software, but basically what you need to know is this thing can do hotkeys, it can do multiple commands at once. There's a basically limitless amount of stuff that you can do with this. Damascus Diary, hey, just dropping by to say hello, gotta do some stuff, but it's good to have you back. It's good to be back. Thanks so much for popping in and saying hey. No worries that you gotta run, just make sure you check out that replay, and look for the full videos on these things coming soon, because I could talk about these things forever, but not today. Let's see here. Bill's saying, could you quickly show how to assign these shortcuts? Also, how many profiles and pages can you create? I will get to that in just a sec. Let me just show you a few things on this, and then I'll show you guys the software, because it is freaking cool. All right, so here I am. One of the things I use the most is I do have my tabs up here. So let's say I want to go to, now I know I'm using my mouse. See, I gotta get used to scrubbing. But say I want to work on this. This is a Mogurt file that I used for the title. Say I want to get in there. The way you guys do that is you go up to graphics and then you can edit it. But I have built into the Stream Deck right here, click, and it should take me, boom, to my graphics panel. My computer's trying to catch up because I'm making it do a quadrillion things right now. So I'm getting the spinny beach ball, but come on, baby, you can do it. I think it's time for a Mac Pro. What do you guys think? Yeah? Anyway, you can take my word for it. Eventually, when she stops chugging, it will go to the graphics panel, and there it is. And now I am able to edit my graphics. Now, I told you guys that I don't really use my color panel very much anymore, but I've built one for color. So if I hit here, it'll take me to the color window, I think. Some of these may have unlinked. Well, this is embarrassing. Let's see if audio works. Nah, I think it's just being a pain in the butt. But anyway, they can be programmed that way. Take me back to editing. No? You don't want to play? All right, fine. But anyway, you can do that right there. I've also programmed like import. So I'm in here, say I want to import some footage. I just hit this button, and it brings up my import screen, and I can bring some stuff in. All right, I'm over here, and I need to create a new sequence. Okay, let me just hit my new sequence button. Boom, that's up. One of the things that I use very, very often is interpret footage. So, okay, I have this clip, I hit my interpret footage, now I can change my frame rates, all of that. Let's see here, I wanna scale something. I've got something for scaling that, new titles, frames. I've got audio controls for synchronizing the mixer, render all. I've got something to set up the side-by-side view. I think I have to be clicked on this, but if I go to the side-by-side view, now I've got my comparison view mode, and I can toggle that sucker off. Down here in my timeline, okay, I want to be able to view everything, so I've got one right here, tap. Now I can view my entire timeline. I want to punch in a little bit, punch, 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 got that, no worries right there. I want to view this window full screen right now. I've got a full screen, brings that up, takes me back. Awesome, right? These are just the sets of ones that I have put together. But yeah, so these are the ones that I have put together. These are the ones that I find the most functionality. I've got scaling, I've got cuts, I've got nesting, I've got apply auto dissolves, I got apply crossfades for audio. I absolutely freaking love this. But you guys were asking, Bill was asking if I could take a look at, oh, did my camera up here freeze? Awesome. This is the technical issue I had earlier, guys. So you can still hear me, yes, but I don't think you can see me. But anyway, I'm going to go and... Ah, yeah, I'm frozen in the corner. Look at that. Let me see if I can... Give me a sec, guys. Camera. I'm asking a lot of this computer right now, so... Uh-oh. Don't jank it up. Don't jank it up. Bear with me, guys. Damn, we may have lost that. Let's go to FaceTime HD. There we go. So you guys will have to just take this angle, right? Let's see. You see me? Oh, now I'm teeny tiny. Whatever. We'll make it work here, guys. So sorry about that, technical issues, running so many different devices, running 2 cameras via Stream Decks into everything, so it just tapped out on me. But that's okay. We're gonna carry on. We're just gonna use the FaceTime camera. Sorry, it's not like super framed awesome right now or anything like that. LoupeDeck, we don't need you anymore. We want to take a look at Stream Deck. So I have 2 Stream Decks connected, but we're going to go into the Stream Deck software. Boom. Here is the Stream Deck software. And as I said, you can control both of your devices here. So I have one that I've just called Stream Deck, which is my small 15 key one. So here you can see the keys that I'm using to control my broadcast here. And then if we go to, sorry, my XL, here's my my bigger one. Let's make this larger so you guys can actually see. So there we go. So I have created all of these icons here. And so these are our websites, but over here on the side, you can figure out everything that you want to add to it. So you just drag and drop things to this to add a button. So you can have actual control centers for Elgato, but I don't use that very much. OBS controls, so you can switch scenes, you can control your mixer, you can start record, you can start your stream, you can select a source input, so all of those you can switch. Actual Stream Deck controls, this is where you could create folders. Like I've got 2 folders in here with different commands. So if I double click, you can, or there we go. Come on. There we go. So if I double click into that folder, you can see I've got all my YouTube controls and icons in here. Open this up. Let's see. Website. Hotkey switches, hotkeys, which is what I use mostly in Premiere. Open, meaning you can open different programs just by hitting the buttons. So these just automatically open some of my most commonly used programs. Text, you can have it type text. Twitter, you can have it send out tweets. YouTube, you can have it do chat messages, or it can show you how many live viewers you have and all of that kind of stuff in there. So that's actually really freaking cool. And there's so much more you can do. So if you go into more actions, I've turned off a lot of the ones that I don't use very much, but you can have it show you a clock, you can put games on it, you can have it control Philips Hue. There's just Apple Mail you can open up, tells you how many emails you have. Crazy amount of stuff that you can do with this. But if we go into my Premiere tools, this is a profile, so go into Premiere. So these are all the Premiere sequence or Premiere things that I have created to run everything. Created my own little icons. So the way you do that is you go in. This is a hotkey. So I just tell it what I want the hotkey to do. So this is Shift S for scaling in Premiere. Put my title on it there so I could, you know, type whatever you want, but it shows up directly on the button. And then you add that button to the Stream Deck and it's good to go. So what I did was in Premiere, I either took all of the shortcuts or I created new shortcuts if they didn't exist, because you can do that in your software in Premiere. Told it new hotkeys for some of the commands that I like this render all is one of my favorites. I set it to shift return to render, you know, pre-render my whole timeline. So I just programmed that in, shift return, render all, and now anytime I hit that button on the Stream Deck, it does my custom command in Premiere. These, which were being a pain in the butt, but should take us to the different workspaces in Premiere and all of that. So somebody was asking about how many profiles and folders you can create and how deep you can get. And I believe it is actually, at least for folders, I think it's unlimited, because you can nest a folder inside a folder inside a folder. And for profiles, I think I'm not sure that there's a limit on that either. I'd have to look that up. But you can create pretty much as many as you want, man. It's crazy. All right, sorry, I just took a little sip there. Let's check our chat and let's see how bad my dang, man. Let's make this bigger. All right. All right, let's take a look at our chat. So now I'm looking the opposite direction and whatever. Technical difficulties happen, guys, right? So our chat is saying, can you quickly show how to assign these shortcuts? Also, how many okay, so we did that one. Trevor says, thought I missed the whole thing, doing a marathon show. No, we always go for about an hour. So we are closing in on that mark very quickly right now. Trevor's saying it's a pretty slick looking panel. Bill's audio is good. That's when it froze. At least you didn't freeze with your eyes half shut. Yeah, it wasn't a bad freeze frame for me. You know, I wasn't stuck like ooh or something like that. So that was good. Good question, Peter G, the creative. How much is each product? So the LoupeDeck Plus is $249. The Stream Deck XL is $249 as well. There are two other smaller Stream Decks. There's the original Stream Deck that has 15 keys, and they even made one called the Stream Deck Mini that only has 6 keys. And I'm not sure of the pricing on those. They are cheaper, but there are links down in the description. I think the regular Stream Deck is like $150, and I think the Mini is maybe like $90. But there are links down below if you want to go check those out. And the ShuttleXpress here is $60 on Amazon. Link in the description down below as well, so you guys can check all of that out. Let's go back to our chat here. And let me show you guys real quick. So I want to show you the full overhead. So you can see here how I have all these things laid out. But here is my smaller Stream Deck that I'm using to control the actual stream, because I needed to have my Premiere controls up here, but still control OBS. So I have two, so you can use and manage two at the same time. Pretty cool. And then let's go back to our chat here and get caught up. Let's see here. Shiznuts is here. Wait, what? Is this really Bart live streaming? My goodness. Hey man, I've come back. We had a show 2 weeks ago. I only took one off, and then yeah, granted I was gone for like a month and a half before that. But you know, NAB, work, all that stuff, it happens, man. But yeah, I'm back. It's good to see you too. Shiznut says, I don't do Mac. I'm Camp Asus ZenBook Windows all the way. So I believe all of these devices also work on Windows, and some actually on Linux as well. So you don't have to be on Mac to use these. So they are versatile, cross-platform. So there you go. You should be able to use them. Bill says you shouldn't have shown us the Stream Deck. Now I want one. Yeah, I am addicted to the Stream Deck. It is absolutely awesome, and I've been using the 15 key one for quite a while. And now that they came out with the big boy, the 32 key in the XL, I had to have it. And yeah, I have so much more planned that I want to be able to do with that Stream Deck, the XL, and it's just freaking cool. That's where you can start programming in stuff to apply LUTs and apply effects and all sorts of stuff. You know, like the sky is the limit really for what you can do and what you can figure out, because you can have it also do a series of commands with a single push. So if I saw an example of someone who works in Photoshop and they make like icons and stuff. And so when they needed to export an icon, they needed one at like a 100 by 100. They needed one that's like 25 by 25, and they needed one that was like even smaller or whatever. And so what she did was she programmed all of the hotkey strokes in order to, you know, Command S save or scale and change, and like then enter text for in the resolution for like 100 pixels by 100 pixels and all that stuff, and did it for all three of them in a single chain command. And so she had one button that would then resize and export all three of her formats with a single button. Freaking sweet, man. So stuff like that I haven't really dived into yet. I'm still using it as basically a visual hotkey kind of solution. Let me show you guys it again on its solo. So I'm really using it as mostly just already hotkeys that of course you could do on a regular keyboard, but the difference is that here I have this nice graphical interface that is showing me, you know, so I know I'm not trying to remember, okay, is it shift whatever? Instead of holding like shift command something, I just tap a single button and it does what I want, and I have images here that show me which one is which, so that's kind of nice. All right, take me back to chat. There we go. So we're gonna get wrapping this this up here, guys, but I do want to answer all your questions here. I would love to go really further in depth on all three of these, which is why I'm going to be releasing 3 videos, hopefully very soon. One for each of these products, a little bit more in depth, giving them a little bit more of a focus, and so that if you want to just learn about one in a little bit more detail, you don't have to watch this whole show again and learn about all 3. You can just go straight to that. So I'm going to work on that because I think there's a lot of capabilities to all 3 of these, and they each perform a very separate action, and I've been pretty happy with them. Need some tea, man. An hour of talking really gets you. All right, let's see what we've got. She's not the saying, wasn't that thing on Kickstarter? I'm not sure which thing you are referring to. I think the original LoupeDeck may have started as a Kickstarter, but the LoupeDeck Plus, all of these are available on Amazon, so links down below. I don't believe the Elgato Stream Decks were ever a Kickstarter thing, but I think the original LoupeDeck was, and this is the LoupeDeck Plus, which is the newer generation. She's not saying thoughts on Blackmagic panels. So as you guys know, Blackmagic Design makes a lot of interface panels. They're also coming out with a new editor's keyboard. And to be honest, when I saw that editor's keyboard at NAB, it kind of is what inspired me to start looking at these solutions, because theirs is like $1,000 for the keyboard. And yes, it has like a jog wheel control and all that kind of stuff into it. But I was like, you know what? I bet you I could piecemeal this together and get the functionality that I want without spending $1,000 for one of their things. And so far, I'm pretty happy with this. I mean, yeah, I've got a lot on my desk here, but I still have plenty of space. You know, I'm not cluttered, and everything is within arm's reach. So when I'm editing, I'm now usually working like this. My mouse is just over here in case I need it for something. But you know, I can do some keystroke commands and typing if I want to. I can shuttle and jog through everything, cut and insert clips here. I can do my color work right here, and I can do all of my Premiere system commands and stuff that I need all the time right here. So I'm moving, this hand really doesn't even have to move, but maybe an inch or two, and this one, it's easy enough to just boom, boom, and then I'm back to working through my footage. So I've been pretty happy with them. Let's get back here to the chat, and we are going to wrap this up, guys, because we are at about 2 o'clock, and we've been hanging out for a while. Shizot says, yeah, I checked. The LoupeDeck was on Indiegogo. Okay. Also remember seeing an editor's keyboard. So he's got a link to an editor's keyboard. So yeah, there are lots of other solutions out there to be able to pull this off. The question that I was trying to figure out is, are these things really helpful, or are they just, you know, filling up my space on my desk and emptying my wallet? And while I do feel that the LoupeDeck is probably overpriced, the Stream Deck is expensive at $250 as well, but I kind of think it's worth every penny, especially if you really customize that thing. And if you don't need 32 freaking buttons all at once, there is the more affordable, the 2 other models. And for $60, the ShuttleXpress is a no-brainer. I really think that as I'm able to train myself mentally and my muscle memory to use these as opposed to instinctively reaching for my mouse and keyboard, I think I'm going to be very happy with my efficiency in both editing and coloring with these devices. So that's awesome. And Shiznuts is now busting out the "that's what she said" joke. So it's probably time to get on out of here. All right, guys. Well, thank you very, very much for hanging out and chatting live. I love hanging out with you guys. It is tricky to continuously do the shows when it is the busy season, and I do so much travel for work, so I'm glad that we were able to sit down and do this today. I hope this helped you guys out taking a look at these. I'm going to continue testing all 3 of these and really use them. I do want to put not really a disclaimer, but I bought these. So these weren't sent to me or anything like that. I legitimately wanted to check them out and took it upon myself to scope them out. So I hope the information helped you guys. I hope the question and answer stuff really helped you guys out. Sorry about the technical difficulty with my camera feed just crapping out, but I am running multiple cameras and sources and stuff into this computer over the USB bus, and I'm sure it's not too happy about it, but it held together for a while. So thank you guys for the last time here for hanging out. I appreciate it. If you haven't already, make sure you go ahead and subscribe. Click that notification bell so that you will be notified whenever I go live. I believe, yep, next week we will be taking a week off again. Sorry about that, but I am going to be working again in Anaheim, so traveling back across the country. But I will see you guys the following week, and you guys have a good one. I'll see you then. Take care, guys.